Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. And this morning, we're talking about timing for maximum harvest. And what I mean by that is, don't plant all of your, say, brassicas, all your cabbage family at one time. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing so I have maximum harvest when it comes to fall. First up is potatoes. And these are the ones that I planted in the ground May 20th, but I did show you how I chitted them, how I potted them up first, let them grow, and then planted them in the ground. Shed Wars 21 has a challenge when you buy food from the grocery store and then plant it, and that's what these two things of potatoes are here. And they're growing really well. But I also found some potatoes the other day. Now I know they're shriveled up, but they were 4 different kinds, and I thought I would put them in some pots, put some raised bed soil, and see what kind of potatoes I can get from them. And it'll be interesting. Now, next up are brassicas. That would be cabbage, kale, broccoli, anything that's in the mustard family. And these ones are just growing in some tubs. And some of them I will plant in some raised beds. Some of them I'm going to just let them grow here. And it just has a raised bed soil. And they've been in here a week and a half, 2 weeks. They were very tiny when I put them in here. But these are my smallest ones. Now I have cabbage in 5 different stages. So these are the next ones. And you can see they're starting to bulk out. It's time I can take my cages off of all of them. And then I have ones in the part of the community garden that is just covered with straw to hold down the weeds. And then I have these ones. And as you can see, the different stages, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now in this area, it's all brassicas. It has kohlrabi, broccoli, kale, and in fact, the kohlrabis are just starting to bulb up. So I'm very excited about that. And we have some Brussels sprouts in this area. But it has just become a field of leaves, which I'm very happy about. Now, the ones that I planted the earliest are these ones. And I have cauliflower, cabbage, and broccolis. And these are the cauliflowers. And they're just getting humongous. They like the 3 days of rain that we just had. And the cabbages are actually starting to set the actual cabbage. They're starting to make the ball. And I'm very excited about that. But sometimes you're just going to plant seeds. Onions, peas, beets, lettuce. And of course, everything I'm planting goes in my book. I have the date, where it's planted at. And let's talk about peas. Now the peas are growing up the fence, and so they're really attaching to the fence now, so it's a perfect time to add more peas. And I like to do peas at this stage every 2 weeks from now on. And so I'm just going to pull that straw away from there, and I'm only going to come out maybe 2 inches. I don't want to disturb the roots at all, but I do need to go down 1 inch. And so I'm going to push that away, pull up any of the little weeds that I might find. Now this is what most people call weed. It's purslane, but it is so nutritious and it's great in salads. And any zucchini recipe, you can use purslane. So we're just going to take one of my tools. We're going to dig down 1 inch. And I like to plant them about 1.5 inches apart. Some people do it closer together. Some people do it farther apart. But remember, in 2 weeks, I'm going to plant some more peas, because I want a continuous harvest of peas. And so you can see I'm just dropping them in. Of course, we'll just cover them up and put a little straw on top. Now I have some green onions growing too. And I'm going to plant them by the fence. There's cucumbers on one side, lentils on the other side, and I just made my trench again. But this time I'm only going down about 1/2 inch. And they tell you to plant them about every 3 inches. I plant them way closer together than that. I can always pull some of them out and thin them, move them different places, and it's just a matter of covering them up, patting it down a little bit, putting some straw back, and give them a good soak. Now, if you find weeds while you're planting, make sure you're just pulling them up. Throw them in your compost pile. throw them in a pile, and let them dry all out. Now, beets and lettuce is something that you can grow continuously. Every couple weeks, add some more. And I have beets growing in the ground, in pots. And I had this area where I put this tomato cage in where the watermelon is going to grow up. And I just cleared it of any weeds, any debris. And I'm going to plant the beets and the lettuce in there. And these are seed tapes. And when you buy seed tapes, they're evenly spaced. You can actually pull them apart. They're about 15 feet total. And if you pull that apart, they're about 7.5 feet on each section. But I just rip it to whatever size I want. I make a little trench, I lay it down, and then I'm going to cover it with soil. And I'm just lightly covering it. I'll pat it down, I'll give it a good soak. Now with the lettuce, I do separate it. But you do the trench, you cover it up with lightly with soil and give it a good soak. And you are set with that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you start planting some things even today. Now, there'll be things that I'll start in July that I'll plant right out, or I'll just plant the seeds directly. But as you saw today, cabbage, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, things like that. The peas, where I'm replanting every 2 weeks so I have maximum harvest. And it's a way that you can really just spread out your harvest. You're not overwhelmed so that all of a sudden you have 15 cabbages and you don't know what to do with them. You have bushels of peas and you don't have time to process them. This just makes it easier for you, gives you some options. Always like, subscribe, share with the world, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Here in Wyoming, it's not too hot today, only in the high 70s, and we have had 3 days of rain in which we had over 1.5 inches of rain. Woohoo! I will see you next time, and have a fabulous day.